November the 18th, 2009 is a day I'll never forget in my life, nor will my family. We had a dryer bin that needed to be cleaned out. It was full of, we'd finished drying beans in it. It had to be swept down, cleaned out. For some reason, something happened in the top gearbox with the bottom shaft. It took, and the augers took off running around the bin. It come around, it got the back of my right leg. Caught the back of my blue jeans. As it instantly grabbed me, I screamed for him to turn it off. He turned it off. It still took me quarter way around that bin. One thing I didn't know at the time till after I got told later down in the hospital when I was laying in London, being my son was the only one there with me, they start to question him, is it an accident or is it deliberate? And that itself, without alone the accident, is quite traumatic for someone to go through. Traumatic enough that they got to see what happens to a loved one or a family member, and then to be questioned that way. That took quite a while to deal with that. While I was waiting in the ambulance, the medevac showed up, and the medevac did not want to land because they were scared of hydro wires, etc., etc. It took quite a while for my wife talking to the local fire department and to the paramedics to get them to land the helicopter. And they landed the helicopter roughly from here to the white truck or here to the office away from the grain bin. The roughest ride I had was from the ambulance to the helicopter because it was a plowed field and they rolled me across a plowed field. That was worse than getting in and out of the bin. Then the medevac lifted off from home. The doctor in the medevac, and the thing I didn't know at the time either, and I found out since, apparently the EMS responders that showed up, they are not allowed to give you pain medication or do anything for you until there's a trauma doctor who gives them the orders. And I didn't know at the time being, but I found out later in London, when a medevac is ordered for a farm accident, they automatically put a trauma doctor on board. Majority of farm accidents, they know, are not good. On the helicopter, before it started to take off, the trauma doctor said to me, we're going to try and do something with your right leg because it's starting to turn purple. And he said, we'll give you something for the pain. Well, that was a relief. They put the right leg back, they put the right knee back into position somewhere between home and London in the helicopter. The accident happened Wednesday morning at noon. I come to Wednesday afternoon in London. It's quite a feeling when you're laying in an emergency in London and you get your name put on a chalkboard. Being I wasn't cut open or anything seriously wrong except for a dislocated knee, a broken femur bone, a broken arm, all the x-rays, they didn't find any internal damage or anything cut open, so you get your name put on a chalkboard. If something worse serious comes in, down the chalkboard you go. A guy tried to commit suicide and shot himself in the head with a shotgun. Funny, he gets priority. I don't get that, but anyways. That was on Wednesday afternoon. It was Friday morning before they finally operated. They took me into OR. They had my right leg was in a brace. It didn't need anything done to it except that it was what it was. It's the way the knee will be. The left leg, they drilled in through my hip. There's a pin from my hip to my knee socket, screws in through the knee socket, screws in through the hip. The arm, they cut it open from the shoulder down to about the elbow because the bone was not only broke off, there was a sliver broke out of it like a half moon. There's a steel plate goes around the arm with 13 screws down each side. That was on Friday. Miraculously enough, when I woke up and finally come to and was able to sit up somewhat, and look, I couldn't believe what had happened. I didn't have a cast anywhere in my body, but I was as black as that computer screen from here down. Everything. Jet black. They had given me 3 units of blood in London due to internal bleeding. Sunday morning they had me standing up. Monday night they said they had an ambulance heading back to my local hospital. There was a bed, they could transfer me back if I wished to go. Yeah, sign me up, I'm out of here. Back to the local hospital. It's quite an experience where you're laying in the back of an ambulance, looking out the back doors of the ambulance, and the two ambulance attendants are talking, they're lost. Okay, I may be drugged up and I may be out of it, but I still know how to get home. So you're laying in the back of the ambulance explaining to them how to get home. Then they get to our local Chester area and the one looks down, where's the hospital? Maybe we should ask him. So you had to direct them to the hospital. Okay? It was a very emotional feeling to get back to a local hospital with people you know, family this close, because the entire time I was in London, I had a 16-year-old daughter at home that could not get in to see me. There was a flu outbreak in the hospital at the time, and they'd stopped anybody under 18, I believe it was, coming in. 16 coming in. 16 coming in. So she was not even allowed in to see me. Once I got back to the local hospital, that she was allowed in. But then you're put in isolation in the local hospital because of bugs that could be carried from a major hospital back to a local hospital, so then you're quarantined for so many hours. It's quite a challenge to move around when you've only got one arm that works, no legs that work, and another arm that's incapacitated is not able to be used. Since then, there was a lot of months of therapy, rehabilitation. I cannot do what I used to do by no means. I used to run around top of bins, 100-foot elevator legs. We built all our own bins. I can't do that anymore. I got a right leg that the nerves are all severed at the knee. I'm able to shove the foot down. I still run the farm machinery and everything else, but I can't pick the foot up. So if you walk, quite often I'll trip over my toes and land my nose. The left leg, I give them credit for putting it back together. It don't have near the strength it used to be. The muscles were all badly damaged and badly squashed. And it is not set straight, so I can actually take the foot and turn the foot pretty well pointing straight out back. The good Lord's blessed me to be here and have my limbs. If you take nothing out of today, if my son would not have been standing at that door to shut that thing off, I would not be here. You would not be hearing from me. We as farmers, we all work a lot of times by ourselves or do things by ourselves. If you're in a situation that is something very similar or something that where you could get caught or something could happen, go and ask a neighbor. Ask another family member. We've learned now we don't do things alone. We just don't. You get somebody there to help, and you ask for help. You go and help a neighbor. It puts a whole different outlook on life. It truly does. I don't know what more I can share with you. I got something, if you don't mind, I got something I'm going to read you that was given to me when I was laying in a hospital bed. This was actually given to me by one of my family members. Life is not a race, but indeed a journey. Be honest, work hard, be choosy, say thank you, I love you, great job to someone each day. Go to church, take time to pray. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. Let your handshake mean more than a pen and paper. Love your life and what you have been given. It is not an accidental. Search for your purpose and do the best you can. Dreaming does matter. It allows you to become that what you aspire to be. Laugh often, appreciate the little things in life and enjoy them. Some of the best things really are free. Do not worry. Less wrinkles are more becoming. Forgive, it frees the soul. Take time for yourself and plan for longevity. Recognize the special people you have been given and been blessed to know. Live life today and enjoy the moment. Thanks for listening.